It's so much sweeter than saying happy birthday. It's something our special guest today's mom always said to her as a little girl. And now it's a beautiful children's book. I'm So Glad You Were Born is taking up more than a place on bookshelves across the country. The phrase is taking up space in our hearts, too. Our special guest today is mom, news anchor, and author Ainsley Earhardt. You may know her from the news, or you might be meeting her for the first time today. Either way, you're going to feel like you made a new friend. Ainsley, welcome to Spirit 105.3. I am just delighted to meet you. Ainsley, you are on my mom and dad's TV every single morning.
Are you serious? You are so sweet.
Whenever I go visit them in Charlotte, North Carolina, you're right there with us having coffee.
Oh, thank you.
Of course. I live in Seattle, so those visits are pretty special.
Yes. Oh, so you live on the other side of the country.
I do. It's
How do you
so
like
hard.
Seattle?
Oh, I love it. I love it because I can shine the light of hope here, you know? It's just a wonderful opportunity from God. I just miss my fam.
I know you do. Did you grow up in Charlotte?
I didn't, but I lived there for 20 years.
It's so beautiful.
It is. I know.
Whoever is in charge of that, they've done such a remarkable job. Beautiful.
You know, George Washington actually called Charlotte a trifling city, and look what they've done since then. Mm-hmm.
Did he really?
Yes. Well, you and I have something in common, Ainsley. We both have a wonderful mother. Your mom used to say a very special phrase to you that turned into a book that's absolutely beautiful. What was that phrase?
I'm so glad you were born.
Oh. What did that mean to you growing up?
So, we always heard it. So I just thought it was a really sweet way to say happy birthday. And then when I got the job on Fox and Friends, I said it on Steve Doocy, my co-anchor's birthday, and he and Brian just looked at each other. It was pause, 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 and then Brian just erupted into that cackle that he does, that laughter. And we all laughed. And I said, I know it sounds funny, but think about it. It's the day you were born, and you look what you do. So many families, just like yours, wake up with you, Steve, every morning. You're really helping America to be a better place, and you're waking up America. I said, we're all glad you were born. You've done so much to make our world a better place. And he has 3 children. We just found out his son's wife is pregnant, and then his daughter is pregnant. So generations will be changed because of him. So that's why I think it's so special. And then Steve's wife, Kathy, wrote us years later in a text during our show. And Steve said, look at this text from my wife. And it said, I have an idea for Ainsley's next children's book. It should be called I'm So Glad You Were Born. So that's how the book was born.
I love that. And I also love that you now say it to your daughter. I know you prayed for Hayden. How has your little girl just sweetened your life?
Well, if you're a parent, you know that you are fearful that you're not going to be the best parent, that you're worried about how you're going to pay for college and all the little things that they need. Then the doctors put this baby in your arms, and you are so excited, and you just know God's going to take care of you. And so she has just blessed my life. I am so grateful to God for trusting me with this child. We had a hard time getting pregnant, and then I had a miscarriage. And then 3 months after my miscarriage, I got pregnant with Hayden. So I wouldn't have Hayden if I hadn't gone through that hard time. So I'm just grateful that he brought something beautiful out of a hard time in my life. And she's just a joy. We have fun.
You have dance parties in your kitchen.
I do. And, people say that the days are long, but the years are short. But I really, really love it. Now, I was 39 years old when I got pregnant. Financially, I was able to finally have a family, and my workload slowed down a little bit. So it was the perfect time in my life to become a mom.
Oh, that is so wonderful. And you do something very special. Also, I might add, very early in the morning on Hayden's birthday. What happens in your kitchen?
I do. So the night before, I go and get balloons, or while she's in school the day before, and I hide them somewhere in the apartment. And then I pull them out when she goes to bed or up early that next morning. I have up the red plate that says, today's your special day. I got that actually as a wedding present. And I use that for every special occasion in her life. The first day of school, for her birthdays, and I write with a Sharpie on the back of the plate whatever we're celebrating that day. And so I place that on her placemat, and I have all of her favorite foods, her balloons, lots of cards and presents. And I cover the kitchen in pink and beautiful flowers and balloons. So she wakes up and she knows it's her birthday. So it just kicks off her special day.
Oh, you're just a wonderful mom.
And I take off work that day, too, so that I can wake up with her.
Do you really?
Unless it's an election year, because sometimes her birthday falls on that Tuesday.
Wow. Ainsley, I love this about your book. This one thing especially, that you put the spotlight on teachers and preachers, caretakers and electric car makers. I love rhyming too. You didn't pick NFL players and rock stars. Would you talk about that?
Yes, because my mother's a teacher and preachers have changed my life. God's using them constantly to get so many people into heaven, teach them about the Lord. And my mother, a teacher for 33 years, and she loved her little children, but she would spend the majority of her day there, come home, take care of 3 more kids, put food on the table for our family and my dad. We always had dinner together, and she's a wonderful person, but she's such a great chef. And that was our time to be together as a family. But now that I'm raising my own daughter, I know how stressful that must have been for her. And I felt guilty as I got older because I didn't appreciate my mom and all the things that she did. So this is her voice. My mom had a stroke 4.5 years ago, and she can't talk. And I mean, she can say like hi or yes, but it's really hard. And so this is her voice. My mom is such a talker. She's the typical Southern woman.
Yeah.
She loves to be on the phone and socialize with her friends. And her life was just changed dramatically. She was diabetic at 39 years old, type 1, insulin dependent, kidney failure, dialysis 3 times a week, and then a stroke. And now she lives in our basement because she can't go up the stairs. And we have 24-hour care for her. So she's just such a special person. And these last few years have been hard for our whole family. And now my mom's voice, I don't know how much longer I'll have with my mom. So this is her voice that we've passed on from generation to generation. And she doesn't physically have a voice here on earth, but these are her messages. And this is her message that hopefully everyone will coin this phrase and use it on their child's birthday.
Yes. Ainsley, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, first of all. And secondly, what do you think happens when a child grows up knowing God has a purpose for them?
Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell you from my own experience, when I accepted Christ at 21 years old, I grew up in the church, but I really didn't have a relationship with God. And at 21 years old, some of my sorority sisters started talking to me about it, and I joined a Bible study, and I started really realizing what it means to have a relationship with God, where you really know him, and you know he's with you. And at that moment, all of my dreams started coming true. I always wanted to be on television. I always wanted to be in New York City or California. I loved the big city life. I always wanted to be a mom, and I wanted to make an impact on this world. And so all of those things started happening, started getting these accolades and awards in college that I didn't ever get before. And so it was like God's favor on my life. And even though I've gone through some hardships, a divorce and other things that have happened in my life, he has redeemed me and brought something even better after all of these events. After my miscarriage, he brings me Hayden, and she's a healthy child. That child wasn't viable and wasn't healthy. And I know I'll meet that little girl in heaven. So I'll have 2 children, one day in heaven. And so you look at life differently. It's a different perspective. You know that this is not it. We're studying Paul in our Bible study. And Paul's life, he even took pleasure in being in prison because he felt like he could relate to what Jesus was going through, a small portion of what Jesus went through on the cross with his suffering. So when you're in a bad place, you know God has you there for a reason. So you end up just trusting God and saying, God, I don't understand it, but I trust you. And I know that you're going to redeem me, and I'm going to be a better person because of this. And that, I could give you countless examples of how that's true in my life.
Oh, to think that Paul wrote the book of joy, which is what I've heard Philippians is called, in prison, from prison.
I know.
It's awesome.
Right.
He hugs us, Ainsley. It's beautiful. Well, Ainsley, before I let you go, my parents recently celebrated their 49th anniversary, and I just thought it would be so fun if you just wish Will and Laura a quick little happy anniversary.
Will and Laura, I think you are beautiful for staying married for 49 years. I do not know how you did that. I just think it's such a gift from God that you found partners, and I'm sure y'all have had ups and downs. I just love that y'all stuck it out. I think it's amazing. And you obviously have raised a beautiful daughter. She's a strong Christian. She loves God. She's doing that for a living. Other people are going to come to know God because of your teachings and what you poured into your daughter. So I'm so glad you two were born. I'm so glad your daughter was born and has a message, a beautiful, bright light message for everyone in Seattle. I just love y'all. I hope you have many, many more anniversaries together. And your love created your beautiful daughter, and she will go on to change lives too. So your lives, your voices will live on forever. So thanks for sticking it out and for being there for one another. And just love is beautiful. And I always wanted that. And that wasn't God's plan for my life, but I just think it's great that y'all have been together for that long and supporting one another. God bless you.
Oh, Ainsley, I feel like I made a friend today. Thank you for spending time with
Thank
me.
you. Thank you so much. Tell your parents to look me up if they come to New York. They need to come visit Fox. I know that they watch us in the morning, and I appreciate that.
Oh, you are a doll. God bless you and the work you do, my friend.
Thank you.